whole other level of fancy.
It's a whole other level of fancy. Hey, we're live, by the way.
Oh, that's a good thing I didn't say what I was gonna say. So,
See, you gotta watch what you say.
oh, I've got the stream up. I was looking for it. I was like, she's gonna try to catch me, isn't she?
No.
And no, not at all. You would never just suddenly go live without telling me. I would never do that to you.
Why don't you do the introduction, Pep?
Oh, I knew you were gonna.
You know, you gotta run your mouth and talk your shit. Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Oh, welcome to Waking Up. How did you start the intro again?
Oh my god! Really?
We are not here. We are not here to bash anyone's religion. We think religion is a beautiful thing, done as long as it's done in a healthy way.
You haven't even introduced who we are.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Did you take your meds today? No, for real. That's a legitimate. You didn't, did you?
No, I did. I did.
Go check. Go check.
I did because I remember because it was the last one in the case. So I remember.
Did you?
Hi.
Did you take your meds?
Sean Egg. I did. Do I need to take more? Is that? Do I need to take my other meds? Hi, I am Sean.
Oh my god.
AKA Pep, and I'm here with Anna, aka Rooks, and you're watching Waking Up.
How many people call me a Rooks anymore? Like, it's starting to dwindle down.
It is, yeah. A lot of us, have just switched to
the dragon.
Switch to your real name.
Anna.
Yeah, actually, you probably called the dragon more.
I am probably called the dragon more than I am now than I am the than a Rooks.
You are the dragon, that's for sure. Hey, Jay. Talking about my no. Oh, you're allowing call-ins. Heck yeah!
I told you that's I'm starting that thing.
It's kind of cool.
I was like, maybe one day somebody will be brave,
or it'll be some troll will do it. One of the two,
and that's fine. And we will
we will
handle
deal
them.
with the troll.
We will handle them accordingly as I drink out of my bloody pan-burnt mug. It's fine. Oh my god! Do I have to do everything? Okay.
No, you don't. So you're watching Waking Up. This is our podcast about religious trauma and regular trauma and everything in between. We are not licensed therapists. We are not certified. We are not counselors.
I'm certified something.
We what I say is we are certifiable. We're just not certified.
Oh.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's it. So so do not take what we say as therapy advice at all. If you need therapy, if you need to speak to a therapist or a counselor, please let us know. We can point you in that direction because that isn't us. We're not those people.
Oh my god! Did you just say we're not those people?
We're not those people. Yeah, we're not counselors, therapists. So we did grow up in the Bible Belt, the buckle of the Bible Belt. We grew up Southern Baptist. And we have all kinds of experiences, trauma and whatnot from that. We do not hate religion. We do not hate. We think religion is a beautiful thing. We don't hate it as long as it's done in a mentally healthy way. It was not when we were growing up. Did I miss something?
No, you're fine. I have a new screen set up, so I'm trying new things.
You're as I'm giving the intro, you are not paying attention at all because you're focused on your stuff.
Do you really want me to pay attention while you are totally? Yeah. Do you really?
An observation. That was an observation, right. Not a criticism.
You really want me to pay attention?
I want you to pay attention, look closely, and become eagle. No, I do not. I don't need those. No.
You don't need that pressure on you.
We're good.
Okay.
No, I don't need that pressure. So what are we talking about today? Hey, now it's my turn to look at you and go, what are we talking about today?
I titled the show. You weren't even paying attention if you're giving. Yeah. He said even you weren't paying attention.
That's fair. I wasn't even paying attention to my own intro.
That's
cool.
He's not wrong. I titled it Roughing It. Because you and I in the past couple of weeks, personally and together, have been sort of rough. It's been
It
sort
has
of rough.
been.
And by sort of rough, I mean a lot rough.
Rough is a bit of an understatement.
It is. But I also, it sort of has to do with what I sent you earlier, the video I sent you earlier. But
Okay.
in that aspect of the difference between us roughing it and like trauma dumping and that fear
What
of
that
trauma
article
dumping.
or what video talked about. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's been rough. Tears have been
Yeah.
shed. Intrusive thoughts have been
Uh-huh.
thought.
Yeah,
Hard
they have.
feelings have been felt.
Oh God, yes. Oh, it has been quite the couple of weeks. And yet here we are.
And we're surviving.
We are surviving. We are survivors.
I
Mhm.
actually was just listening to that song, Victim or Survivor.
I knew if you hadn't, it would be in your head now.
It's our
Mhm.
favorite
It's
song.
a good song.
It is a good song. I love that.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's been rough. Sean and I have been are you really drinking out of your Mr. Right mug? Go get another mug
I
right now.
am. No, I'm not. Not
That
going to.
is like, okay, you know what? I'm not gonna criticize you on street.
That's fair. I mean, that's cool. I'll take it.
I mean, it's been rough. It's
Could
been
be a long
rough. The
stream
past
then.
couple weeks have been
Yeah.
rough. Yesterday, I was actually my kids have been sick. Like, no, Chloe's been sick.
Mhm.
Nora turned 13.
Oh
We've
my,
been
you have a
going all week.
teenager?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Apparently, Chloe wanted to share her bug with me. That's fine. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be
Then
5 pounds
that's
lighter. But see, I
sweet.
don't have the cough one that she has, because apparently the flu's going
Uh-huh.
around. No. But you know what? It's fine. I'll lose a couple
You got
pounds off
the
of this.
no
It's fine.
hunger one? Mhm.
Yeah. My stomach hasn't felt angry today or yesterday with a fever. It's fine. It's fine.
Mhm.
Um, no, I mean that's been rough, but I mean emotionally it's been pretty rough for both of us. I think in different
It
ways,
has been.
in very very
Yes.
different ways. But they actually stem from the same core belief of
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm not good enough. I am unworthy.
Yeah.
I am not good enough. It's that same
Yeah.
core belief. And I mean, both of our problems stem from that same. But I also, okay. And I was thinking about this. We have the same core
Mhm.
belief, right? We're not good enough. We're not worthy. We're not
Mhm.
worthy of love. We're
Mhm.
not, living up to standard, blah, blah, blah. Think about where that comes from, though, and how it got reinforced. John 3:16.
Oh, man. Ah,
The
wow.
Roman road. We were all born
The Roman
sinners.
road. Yeah,
All born sinners.
we're all
We're
born sinners.
not
We're not
gonna
good enough.
we will always not we were born with sin. That's why like Catholics baptize their babies so that they can go to heaven, because even babies who their only sense of function right now. Oh, thanks, Calvino.
Hey, Calvino.
Their only source of do I get a cookie? I actually have some
I
cookies
mean,
downstairs if you want some. They're very
ah,
prettily
oh,
decorated.
ooh.
But the only source of like their function is to cry, eat, and poop.
Mhm.
That's it. And just grow. That's their function. That's their is to grow. That's it. But yet they were born
Yeah.
with that original sin. They were born with sin.
Yeah, I've never quite been online with that one. On board with that concept.
Oh, did you say online? Okay, corporate speak.
I wasn't like in line with yeah, okay.
But like that's the thing. It's like you and I both suffer from the same core belief. Now that core belief is like for those who is deep in a lot of people who aren't religious. But we got um. Oh, thanks for the new follow.
Yay!
So welcome. So that core belief that we're not good enough. But I mean, our
Mhm.
parents did a whole shit ton in just the non-religious aspect to
Yeah.
reinforce that core belief. But like, okay, here's why my week has been really really rough, because last Friday I was tasked with, okay, we're gonna we're gonna just start dealing with it. And so I decided, and my therapist is great, and she's really informative, but I decided, okay, she goes, we can work our way up or we can work our way down. So I decided I'm going to work my way down. You know, if I get this really massive core belief, then the trickle down effect, right? Everything's going to sort of
Okay.
But so my job, my task, my assignment, my homework assignment was to just make myself aware of the times that my behaviors, thoughts, actions, the people that I surround myself with, how often that is influenced or affected by the core belief that I am unworthy of love. I am not good enough. That I am not good enough. I am telling you right now, roughest fucking week of my life. And it wasn't that I was trying to fix anything. I was just making myself
I
aware.
just want to see it.
She's just saying, I don't want you to fix anything. Just make yourself aware. Worst fucking week of my life. And here's why. Okay, so like when you finally open up that Pandora's box, because you can't shut it again, like shit's just gonna fall out. Like, you realize how it just literally everything you do, how you act, how the order in the words you say, how you say things, how your behaviors, your feelings, the thoughts that run through your brain, just holy fuck. It's like
it permeates everything.
Yes. So it's like, okay, you know, you've been living and needing glasses for like all these years, and finally you're like, okay, and you get your eyes checked and you put the glasses on and then you see everything. You're like, fuck.
That was not what I thought it was.
Fuck. And so yeah, I'm just like, and then I'm seeing all of this, and it just and then because your brain does these. Yes, Pandora's box of mental health care. Yes,
it absolutely
our
is.
famous saying around here: healing is hard, healing sucks, but in the end, it's worth it. It's hard. It's hard. It's so hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. And anybody tells you who goes through, I want to get healed, I want to get better. If anybody tells you, and this goes through with even physical one, like you go through physical therapy, like to get better after an accident or something, it's hard. It's hard and it hurts and it sucks. It sucks. But it's so worth it.
And as much as you just want to do all the things to get it done, that's the worst thing you can do.
Like it's slow. It's slow. It's gonna take, like, the one thing my therapist says to me all the time. It's gonna take how long it's gonna take, and we're gonna just do this one thing.
Yes.
PT is BS. But it works. And here's the thing, because this is what I tell Papa Roogs, is when he had all of his surgeries and stuff, you have to do the work. You have to do PT, or you're going to regress, or not going to get better, or it's going to get worse, Sean. And so
slip that in there. It's cool. It's fine. I mean, you ain't wrong. I had a similar conversation with my therapist, you know, about all the things. I was like, I've got a list. And I'm like, one thing at a time. I'm going to focus on one thing. Like we talked about last Sunday, I'm going to focus on one thing because I want to focus on everything. I want to get everything right. I want to do everything right. You know, golden shot. I got to fix it all. That is not going to work. I cannot, if I try to do everything, I will do nothing.
Mm-hmm. And if you do nothing, you're not doing the work. And it sucks. I forced myself to stop saying that roughly trained. No thanks needed.
Calvino, we're not going to talk about that today. That is, I think that's.
Well, I'm going. Is it Twannis? Is that how you say it? Can I just call you McMahon? Is that okay? Is that okay?
McMahon is okay.
Can I get McMahon? Because it makes me think of McDreamy from like Grey's Anatomy and like McSteamy, like McMahon. You know what? And I feel like anybody in our community, McMad would be it. We'd have McSarcasm, McAnger.
We would all be McSarcasm.
We would all be Mick something. You can call me McMad. Okay, his royal insanity. No, I got that on lock. Cool. It's fine. I mean,
wait, and we should also ask pronouns because that
Oh,
I think we
yes.
forget to ask that
Yes, we
sometimes.
do. If you don't mind telling, so that we address you, because we do respect pronouns and people's
Absolutely.
orientations and stuff
And we
like
don't
that.
want to to get the wrong ones. We don't want to say the wrong ones. So
You do not rock paper scissors. Oh, rock paper scissors. That's my jam right there. I
rock,
love
paper,
rock.
scissors,
I will.
lizard, Spock.
I can play rock paper scissors for hours. Go by here. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you. All right.
awesome.
So, he said, you will fit in just fine. I know. We know within like 30 seconds.
You will. Yeah.
Welcome. No thanks needed. And that is I actually went over that in therapy. I actually went over that in therapy is like, she goes, I want you to be also observant of how when you because people even do physical things when they reject compliments, or they do all of that. Like, I'm unworthy. When it's like somebody says, like, for example, this is one I say all the time, and I'm about to get roasted for it. It's like, you're amazing. You're wonderful. You're beautiful. You're smart. And I'm like, I'm just me. And I will, that's the one I do. And I'm just me. And I literally will brush them off. I will be like, I'm just me. And that's the hand movement that I do. I'm like, I'm just me. Like, literally dismissing. That's a dismissive, when in royalty, that's dismissing them. It's like, it's literally your body physically invalidates people. Like, even if you like, he's like, well, thank you. Like, you don't even know.
It's fine. Yeah.
You're just you, but you can still be amazing. Exactly. Except I did it as a dismissive way, and I wouldn't in an unappreciative way. And so it's just, I'm just me, and I would dismiss it. And that's hard to, because I don't think I'm worthy of that compliment. I don't think I'm beautiful. I don't think I'm smart, because in my head, I'm garbage. I'm garbage. Like, that's if you're gonna boil down to layman's term, I am trash. Like, that's because my brain is going, here's the list of all the ways that you suck.
Yes, that is exactly what I was gonna say. You got that when someone says this, you go, but here's all the ways that I'm not in your head. Like,
but the problem is, and you and I are both talking about that, is that our brains are choosing to see all the negative things. Instead of like accepting that there are positive things as well. Do the negative things exist? Absolutely.
Yeah. We have a bias towards the negative.
Right.
We're very quick. It's very easy to accept all the negatives. It's not easy to accept the positive.
Exactly. And McMahon said the same thing. It's like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
Exactly like
that. And you have to, and it's hard to train. It's hard to and I'm not even saying fully accept that what they said is true. Simply the outward expression of, I'm not going to dismiss it. That just by itself is hard. We're not even talking about going, you know what? What they said is absolutely correct. I am a great one. I'm a wonderful friend or whatever. We're not talking about that. Just the simple act of not dismissing it is difficult.
Not doing this.
Of accepting. This is it's subconscious at this point. It just happens.
It is. And when I say even to the things you do.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's the we invalidate the compliments. We also invalidate the things that we do. The effort and the difficulty and the time that we shoot me the mad daggers.
Are you coming at me? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm coming at me. Okay. I'm gonna change that to me. I do those things. I do those things. And that's one thing I've tried to train myself to do is when someone shows appreciation for something. And here's a common one that people probably do and don't even realize it. How many times you respond when someone says thank you or appreciates something you've done? The response is no problem. That itself is an invalidating response. You're saying that the thing that you did took absolutely no effort. What are you saying that it took no effort? You're saying that it's not a big deal. You are minimizing the thing that you did. And in turn, their appreciation of it. Because if it was nothing, if the thing you did was nothing, then their appreciation means nothing. I have worked really hard not to respond to anything with no problem. Thank
Um,
you.
I think I've also said no. I didn't use no problem a lot. That was not the one I used a
Mhm.
lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is invalidating or not. I think I go of course. Like of course.
Ooh, I use that one a lot. I think, of course, as
I feel
kind of like what McMad said, where of course is so no worries.
I think
I
no
think
worries and
that's
of course are actually a little bit more positive. I think in that
hmm
like of course I would like thank you for that. Like they said thank you, but of course I would do this for you. Like this, it would be of course like you can ask that of like it's positive and no worries. Don't worry about it. Like it's trying to alleviate that shame and guilt for asking for help or but it's a slippery slope. I think again like like we said before, we're not mental health professionals, so we're shooting shit and we're throwing shit at a wall and hoping it sticks. But I think
hmm
in my head now, again, my head I have discovered is a really really not a good place to but I think in my head saying of course or no worries is more of a validating response than no problem.
hmm
But then again, no problem is no problem. Like it wasn't a problem. It's the same thing. So what do you say?
Um,
Is there anything you can
I
say?
use you're welcome. I use of course a lot, and I think it goes back to what McMahon said about things natural. The it's natural for me to help. It's I want to do this. So when you say, "Hey, can you do this?" or of course I can. It's still somewhat, and I think still somewhat minimizing, but I don't think it's nearly as minimizing as something like no problem.
I think
It
we
just means
can
yeah.
I think with anything you
Mhm.
can to break it down. You can I think you can argue both sides of it. It's one of those things
Sure.
where it's you also have to take into account colloquialisms and
Mhm,
slang
mhm.
and
Yeah.
I think so because things like shut
Mhm.
up like nowadays nobody
Yeah.
thinks about saying shut up but like when we were kids
Yeah.
like little kids like you remember you said shut up and it was like a
It
curse
was
word or
it
crap
pretty much was,
or
yes.
like yeah so it's like you
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
understand the development of the human
Sure.
language and so I mean
Mhm,
we can break it down as far as we
mhm.
can go. I mean, and I think it's all in use no worries.
Ooh, that's a good point. Yeah, Calvino, anytime or got you, yeah.
It makes it sound like you're,
Um,
can be. Yeah, I think in any aspect of it, like we could break it down. You're welcome is probably the
mhm.
safest,
It doesn't feel kinda weird to say that? Does it ki sometimes feel weird just to say you're
which is
welcome?
weird because that's the thing you should say. And it's except that
Yes,
nobody ever says you're welcome anymore.
yeah. You're welcome is the direct answer. It is the straightforward, no, there's no other thing. You're welcome. Thank you, you're welcome. But it feels so weird to say it, to just say that. Maybe the uncomfortable thing is the correct thing, and it's
Listen, bitch,
uncomfortable
no one
because we
asked.
Ah,
I mean, you're not
yeah,
wrong. You're not
yeah.
wrong.
Jay, the of course thing, that's exactly what I was thinking. Of course, why would you even ask? That's one way you could look at the of course. I think a lot is less about what you say and about what your intention is behind it.
Yeah.
Um, so no problem to me so is the one I'm like, that's the worst one, and I think probably one of the worst ones for me. But others, I think you're right. It can definitely depend upon what you mean by it. Yeah.
You that well, hey, Calvino, we
I
grew
mean,
up in religious households. Like we were
mm-hmm.
it was not
Mm-mm.
even we couldn't even say shoot.
No.
Shoot was not even one.
Mm-mm.
Nope. I don't know how
Them
many
Christian curse words.
those Christian curse words. Yes. And I don't even know how many times
Yeah.
I got my mouth washed out for soap. And now maybe that's why I'm overcompensating now that I swear like a motherfucking sailor. Like I'm like, I get motherfucking it's my
Mm-hmm.
favorite.
You're making up for
My
yeah.
even my kids curse now. My kids are like, 13. I'm like,
you're the ease with which it rolls off their tongues.
They've been doing it since they were 3. Now, granted, they know better.
Uh-huh.
Like luckily, it's not one of those they're out in public and they're like swearing up a storm and whatever. But I also
Yeah.
think it's one of those like they understand the and my girls are really good about policing themselves. Now, as they are getting
Hmm.
older, am I going to let them swear like every other word? Absolutely not. But I mean, when
Yeah.
we've gotten to the point where it's like when you start policing language, like especially stuff like that, when you're in middle school
Hmm.
and you start getting into high school, what were we doing? Like again, it's one
Yeah.
of those: do we police it or do we just teach them the proper aspects of? And I think that goes along with sex, that goes along with all of,
Yeah.
like, okay, instead of trying to police it, and I'm not saying, and my kids actually have a really great concept of, and Chloe was saying this Friday night. She was sitting in the back of the car and she was going, you know, those, like, she goes, those kids that she goes, I've been thinking about this. Those kids who spend thousands of dollars on at Sephora and on their parents' credit cards. Yeah, the kids shouldn't do it, but really it's the parents' fault. The parents don't tell them no. They're just these kids who think that they can get whatever they want whenever they want. They're just not told no because, and here's where my my smart kids.
Hmm.
She was like, granted, she's 11 and a half. She's like, she goes, because they got told no all the time when they were kids, they are now overcompensating by saying, I don't want my kids to ever hear no because I didn't like hearing no. So I'm there. So these parents are giving their kids whatever they want. So they never hear no. And they don't know that they can't get whatever they want whenever they want. And then they're
Hmm.
it's just detrimental to everything that they do. And I went, there are adults who don't know that. What are you
Yeah,
talking
absolutely. Yes.
like,
Hmm.
but I mean, my kids are also the first one to go, that's fucking stupid. Like, I
Your
mean, so
your kids are incredibly intelligent, and the idea of policing them because they're intelligent, the idea of policing them just seems like if you're just telling them no just because, like I see your kids as they got to understand, which is where I think I love that you help them understand this is when and where and how and why, and then they go, oh well, that okay, I can see that makes sense. I should swear here. I probably shouldn't do it here. That's the nuance. That's the thing that I never got. I don't think I never got the whole here's what you should here's how you wield this thing, this responsibility. I never got that. It was no.
right. And I think it also comes from my background and also my therapy as I'm
Mhm,
learning is they're going to do it anyway. We did it anyway.
mhm,
Our parents
mhm.
did it anyway. It is how I want to approach it. Am I going to say there's a time when you tell a kid no? Yeah,
Yeah.
McMahon, actually, that's what I do with my kids. Like, are they old enough? Are they old enough to know why? And very rarely do I say no and they ask why, and I go, because I said so. Like, I will at least give
Yeah.
them a reason. Will they like the reason? No. And I have also made it acceptable going, yeah, I'm sorry you're disappointed. And I acknowledge that. I'm sorry you're disappointed or mad or angry at me. You know what? You're allowed to be angry at me, but the answer doesn't change. And so I think that's the difference. I don't diminish them being
Mhm.
angry or mad or because they're kids and and
Yeah.
even adults. Okay, you're going to be mad or upset or disappointed if I tell you no or whatever,
Mhm,
but that's I acknowledge that, but my answer isn't going to change.
mhm. McMahon, absolutely.
Healthy parenting.
Mhm. Spot on. Spot on.
My
Ah, pa
I'm trying. I'm trying, but thank
parenting,
you.
you are a good parent. You parent you do your best to parent in a healthy way.
I do, and I'm not perfect. I'm a yeller. I do yell. Because
Mhm.
I mean, I'm neurodivergent. I get overstimulated, and I get to that point where it's some days. But at the same time, I also try to after those I go back. I go, sorry, I try to acknowledge that I fucked up.
Mhm.
You know, it's
I
just a
never
hard
got
process.
that.
It's a hard process.
I don't think I ever got that as when I was a kid. If my parent ever did something, if they ever
I have no contact with my mom, and she still doesn't understand why.
I mean, that says a lot. That does say a lot about how you were raised.
But
Yeah.
anyway, go ahead.
So no, I was just saying I don't think I got that. And maybe I did and I just don't remember. But I just don't recall a time where a parent came to me and said, "Yeah, this is how I reacted." And that was, that wasn't the that wasn't the right way to respond to that. I don't think I got that. I think it was the parent. I think my parents had to be right. Ooh, we're just gonna fly right. We're just gonna skip right over that. Kids you
What?
mentioned you just need to yell. As long as you're willing to self-reflect and admit to your mistakes and learn from it. That's good. Yeah.
My kids know I'm human. I don't think that there was
Mhm.
ever a point. I think that there was a time, but I think several years ago when I first started actually doing the work, when I actually started intensive therapy and I started doing like the real work on myself.
Mhm.
I think for me, it wasn't I was going to keep up this perfect parent idea anymore. And, I made it age appropriate and I've adjusted as they've gotten older and their understanding has gotten, older. But I took away that whole superhero, you know, I'm very upfront with that, and my sister and I had talked about how I have a very different relationship with my kids than she does with hers, and her relationship with her kids isn't bad. I'm not saying that, it's just very different. I am very
Mhm.
open and honest as who I am as a person. They see me as a person. I explain why I'm no contact with my mother. I've also allowed them to have choices. Hey, you can choose to do this or you can choose to not do this. I will respect that decision. I am making this choice.
Mhm.
So I don't like as they've gotten older, like there are times where of course as a parent I have to make that decision. But I don't make the choice for them, which is what I feel a lot of times, Sean, you and I, especially growing up in the church, we didn't get a choice. It
We
wasn't a
didn't.
choice. We got told.
We didn't have agency. We were told this is how it's gonna be, this is why. And if it wasn't because I said so, it was because the Bible said so. This is what the Bible says, and this is you're gonna do this because the Bible says this. Uh,
McMahon said my
what?
ex is once had a show about yeah, stuff like that. That's like dumb.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I mean,
It is unhealthy.
unhealthy. I shouldn't
And
call them so.
see, and
I mean,
I can't say I've never done that. I can't say I've never, and I'm so much the shouting match. So McMad probably hasn't. He doesn't
why
know.
don't you explain to him? Why don't you explain to
So
McMahon why I'm giving you that look right now?
I grew up as the golden child. Um,
And I am the black
so when we
sheep.
say we're yeah, let's say so when we say we have the same core belief, we do, but it varies. Like the way we see ourselves varies. I see myself as the golden child. So for me, everything's perfection. I have to be right. And if I'm not right, well, but I'm not wrong either. See, and that's where I do. You've been on the receiving end of that way too many times. I'm sorry. So yeah, I am the golden child. So I have to. So for me, it's perfection. Everything is perfection. It's perfection in what I do, what I know. I have to know something. I can't not know something. Yeah, it
Oh,
looks. Yeah,
Calvino, why don't you explain to our new friend about Rook's cutlery?
a rude. Yes. Oh my god. Um. So yeah, yeah. And I have known each other for many, many years.
20 years
So
to be exact.
20. Yeah, for 20
Over
years.
20 years,
Um.
actually.
Yeah.
24,
Yes, it is over 20
25,
years. Yeah.
25 years.
Oh my god. We've known the time that we've known each other is over the age of drinking.
Yes, but like we weren't speaking for 15 years, so that's like there's a
Yeah. Yeah, I mean there is.
rude.
uh
No, McMad, short backstory. Sean and I dated. He was a sophomore in college. I was a senior in high school.
Hmm.
We met
Yeah.
through his fraternity little
Little
brother,
brother.
who was my ex-boyfriend. And
It sounds like a soap opera at this point.
it is a soap opera. Every time we explain this story, like every
Yeah.
time. And so we ended
Yeah.
up dating for a while, and
Hmm.
our breakup was so freaking
Had the most.
amicable. It was. We like
It
one time we were
was.
just like we were arguing all the time. We were just just all these things, all of this stuff that we are now discovering is still needing to work on.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that we literally looked at each other and we're just like, we should break up.
This isn't working.
This isn't working. Okay. All right, you want to go to
All
bed?
right.
All right. And literally slept in the
Yeah.
same bed. Like didn't do anything. We just slept. And then that's the way
Took a
that's
nap. Yeah.
right. Like that was just that'd been our relationship for a very long time. Just like that. Like we had no problem sleeping in the same bed with each other and like platonic. Um
Hmm.
Then he started dating his ex-wife in college,
Hmm.
and who was my sorority sister, and she hated me because, well, her own issues.
You were a lot that she. Yeah. You embodied a lot that she wasn't.
We're just gonna leave that there, and because I said
Uh-huh.
short, and so
Uh-huh.
she said that he wasn't allowed to talk to me anymore, and so he literally literally within 30 minutes said I can't speak to you anymore. We went no contact for about 15 years, and
Hmm.
and we've seen each other at like we just walked past each other, and there's a whole bunch of sorted details in between that. That's
Yeah.
actually quite funny. But
Yeah.
after
To make a long story short.
oh, I got it. My dad. But after we reconnected, he was stalking my Snapchat, and I called him out on
We
it
did.
because that's what I do. And then we called that our reboot. And so that was 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. 5.5. So
So
known each other for a while.
soap opera
Yeah.
pitch.
So
For real.
yeah. So a lot of people like say are like ask if we're dating, if we're married, like people that don't know us, and because of the way we interact and the familiarity, we're not. We've just known each other for so long that we know each other very well.
This used to be called
So
Waking Up with Nana and Pep Pep because we
we
argued
did.
like an old married couple. Like,
We did. We still do, but we don't call it that anymore.
yeah.
Now we just call it waking up.
So where's the
So
point where both of you moved to the same town somewhere? Right? It sounds like I was actually just thinking it sounds like a Netflix or like
it's
a
almost
streaming service, like
Hallmark.
original.
We could
No, it's not Hallmark
we can
because
make
it's
this.
too dramatic. It's too dramatic, too much sex and too much violence. Like I feel like
You're right. You're right. Yeah, that's a good
I
point.
feel like it's like one of those streaming services original series.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah.
We could totally pitch this. Yeah. You've been here for a few seasons. Yeah. We have been doing this for a few seasons.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but I mean, Sean and I, we grew up in the very similar, and
mm,
here we are. We started talking. This show was very primarily about our religious trauma, and a
mm,
couple years ago, we branched out into just talking about generalization, and we do bring in our religious trauma because we realized that the religious aspect of way we were raised has solidified a lot of these core beliefs about ourselves
mhm.
because they do affect you, especially if you are raised that way because your family was acting and
Yeah.
believed those things. So it all intertwines with each other, and so
Yeah.
here we are.
For us, for us, yeah, the church and the family blended. When you're so when you grow up so deeply rooted, especially in Southern Baptist, there's not a distinction between church and family. Um, yes, it can absolutely, Matt. It can be helpful. And we're not here to bash religion and say religion's terrible, but we recognize that the way we grew up, there was a lot of mentally unhealthy behaviors and that's what we're trying. And we're stuff that we continue to deal with to this day. Um, so the way we grew up is there was not a distinction. It was blended. What happened in the church was reinforced at home.
Oh, absolutely.
Um, yeah, so that's why we just kind of branched out. We have some very interesting episodes. But we branched out because it was our trauma just encapsulates regular and religious, and so
And this show's really much is very much about us healing. And I was talking because I sent Sean a YouTube video because
Mhm.
I love commentary channels. You know, people talk about
Yeah.
shit like because I love hearing other people's opinions. I do, whether I agree with them or not. I feel like it's
Mhm.
important to hear other people's opinions, which is a lost art apparently in this. Like being able to hear what other people have to say about the same subject. Everybody has their own
Mhm.
ideas, and giving you that different perspective.
Hey, Asta.
Hi Asta, how are you? So I sent him one of the commentary that's talking about trauma talk. And how
Mhm.
prevalent like people going in and trauma dumping because that is that when I started this whole when I was doing in the middle when I was doing this podcast it was very much this huge fear of mine huge fear of I'm trauma dumping on the internet. I am over here just dumping my
Mhm.
problems on the internet. And I'm terrified because I didn't want again my thought process is I don't want people to think that I am just whining and complaining and dumping my problems on
Oh
it.
yeah.
Especially
Mhm.
when I was doing in the middle because it a lot of and in some of my impromptu streams, which I do go live, like because I go live because I need to verbally process. I'm not asking somebody to be there for me. I'm not asking for somebody like I am processing myself out loud.
Mhm.
And especially when I'm sitting in my house by myself, like writing doesn't always do it. I have to talk it out. And yeah, I don't have to put it on the internet, but I do. And I
Mhm.
think it's just I'm not putting that out there and this channel out here on oh my boyfriend broke up with me and I'm so like it's not that. It's
Mhm.
here's what I'm struggling with. Let's talk about it. Because I feel like it's all in like I'm not going to tell you all the details of what what I've struggled with this week. I told you I was struggling. I told you the
Mhm.
basis of but I didn't go into detail, which is the difference. I'm not sitting here
Mhm.
just literally going through the list of all the problems that I dealt with because I want to whine and complain. I'm like, no, I'm struggling, and here's what I'm struggling with.
And you and you're not looking for the audience to validate you and make you feel you're not looking for the audience to fix your problem. For you, a lot of yours is just verbal processing.
It is.
Um, I don't necessarily have a problem with trauma dumping, individual trauma dumping on the internet. One reason is because therapy is expensive. Not saying that trauma dumping on the internet is replacement for therapy, but sometimes you got to get stuff out, and that works. It's a lot cheaper than therapy. But the audience can choose to participate or not. Whether it's a TikTok or YouTube or Twitch, the audience can quickly go, "Nope, I'm out." Like that. They have no obligation to stay. You're not locking them in. Um, and the whole idea of you getting consent from your audience, you can't when people are constantly in and out, in and out. The entire thing would be asking for consent. You can't do that. So I don't have a problem if it's you and you are. But it also matters that if your trauma involves someone else, if your trauma dumping involves other people, you've got to respect the other people. I think, and they have not consented to being part of your
We're
trauma
talked
dumping.
about.
Now yeah, and that was a big thing. Like in the video, she talks about recording yourself trauma dumping to someone else, um, and that to me is unless they've consented to that, which I seriously doubt they ever have. They do. That's a problem when you're like a service trauma dumping to a service worker. No, because a service worker has a job to do, and they can't. You have captured them. That's probably why people do it sometimes, it's because that person cannot leave because their job requires them to provide service. And so you do not have their consent probably. And even if they said so, it's more of a coerce because they're in the service environment. And so to me, that absolutely no. No, you do not trauma dump to them. And don't trauma dump to them and then record it. Don't trauma dump to them, record it, and then post it. Like to me, those are levels, and absolutely not. That's a problem.
I'm gonna take a pause on this topic because Asta
Okay.
said something in the chat, and I sort of
Mhm.
want to talk about that. No, no, you didn't tell us, and I'm sorry about
Mm,
that. But I honestly, I agree. You have to trust your therapist. You have to.
mhm,
You have to be able to let them see the rawest parts of yourself and trust that they have your best interest at heart. And you have to be able to be honest with them, even if it's ugly, even if it's like unhealthy or like the unhealthy thoughts or you're having these hard emotions. You have to be able to trust them and have that safe space. And does that mean you have to trust them right away? No. Does it take a few sessions to just get the feel of, do I trust this person or not? I mean, yeah. But I know it's hard to find a new therapist. I know it's difficult. I've gone through like all of my therapists. I seem to find them when they're like, I get to that point where I trust them, and then they're like, I'm getting a new job, and I got to go find another one. It's just, um, so
yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's, and I know it's difficult. I know it is difficult, and I know it's difficult when you're having to go in and because you have to do the whole intake. They have to take their notes. They have to hear your side of the story. They have to ask you these questions, and you have to go through the whole rigmarole for the first couple of sessions where all you're doing is just regurgitating the same shit that you said to the other therapist or the like
It
the
it
that's
kind
before.
of it kind of feels like trauma dumping at that point because you're trying. That's what when I talk to my new therapist. Like the first couple sessions, to me felt very much like trauma dumping
I don't think
because it was
mine were
just
trauma dumping. Mine was very much just I felt like a very script. Like, here we go again.
I can see that.
Here's
Yeah.
the outline of all the shit that I've worked. Like, here's my traumas. Here's the shit that I've worked on with my other therapist about these traumas. Here's the things that I'm doing. Here's the things I want to focus on. It's almost like having to go down the checklist of, and it's hard. It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I know it's hard. And I'm sorry that, but I am actually very glad that you were honest with them about that. I'm very proud of you because some people will sit and and that's when therapy becomes very detrimental, is that if you don't trust them or you don't feel safe with them or you don't, it's just like anything else. If you're not vibing with that person, you're not friends with everybody. And so not all
Yeah.
therapists are the same, or, and that's understanding. Can I just mail you
It's
the
like it's
script?
like yeah, it's like your therapy session. You just want to send them a script of this is what I'm dealing with. Here, just read this.
Right.
Um, it is. I ran into this. I ran into actually with two of my therapists. I got to a point where I felt that the it was no longer beneficial, and whether that was me or whether that was a therapist, I got to the point where I was like, I just don't feel like there is. I think I've gotten to like a point where I'm not progressing. And that very well could be me that I'm just like I just don't feel like I'm either not listening to them or something. I'm not putting weight behind what they say. Or I just don't feel like they're moving in a direction that I feel I should be going. And so I have left two therapists and had to find different ones. So yeah, it's a tough process, especially that trust, being able to trust them. And when I met during the first session of my new therapist, one of the things I asked was about her. I asked a couple questions and said, "This is a problem I've had with other therapists. Uh, I felt judged. I felt listened to, but there's a point where I felt I was being judged at that point. And so, how do you handle these things? Does this is this are these topics things that you believe you can speak about and help me with without judgment?
Yeah.
So
I take a little time off so I can get more back to myself because of the period we are in, giving me so much anxiety. I understand that. And that's actually a good thing. Giving yourself some time. Um uh it felt like shit. Yeah. I think but I think sometimes it's hard. First off, Asta, I applaud you for for taking care of yourself and knowing yourself and
Mhm.
voicing that and being saying, okay, this is what's best for me, um, and not just jumping from one therapist to another. I know that when my therapist, she told me several weeks in advance, so I had time to look and really contemplate. Do I need to take some time off or do I not? And for me, and where I was at, I needed to continue therapy, but um, giving yourself some time to. It's a lot of information. It's a lot of processing. It's a lot of stuff. Therapy is hard.
Mhm.
Therapy, yes, can therapy heal you? Yes. But just like physical therapy, where you're working muscles and building things and all that stuff, it's hard and it hurts and it's stressful
Mhm.
and it sucks. Just like you because you weren't here at the beginning. It's like this week has been Sean and I have been roughing it. And when I say roughing it, like we have
It's
been
been
doing the
rough.
emotionally, mentally healthy
Oh,
thing and it's fucking sucked and it's been hard.
yeah.
And
It's
um
it's it's exhausting. Yeah.
sometimes you need to give yourself a rest, just like you need to tell your body to rest. Sometimes your brain needs
Mhm.
a rest. You need a rest. And I think we don't get told that. Yes, exposure therapy.
Absolutely. Ooh, that yeah. I've been doing exposure therapy in mine too. It is
Your nervous system,
oh,
because you're retraining your nervous system, and your nervous system
it
gets
does not
shot.
yeah. It protests. Um yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, McMahon. Yeah, that is yeah, you have to start digging into things that you maybe have scabbed over significantly and that hurts. And it's very difficult.
no, I feel like mine, and I always compare this. I feel like my wounds, all my wounds, there are
Mhm.
deep wounds that like internal bleeding that I didn't know was happening and
Mhm.
going on that I'm starting to uncover. That's where I'm at in mine. But like in the beginning, like when I first started all this, I felt like that night in the Holy Grail. It's like it's but a scratch. It's
Mhm.
fine. I'm like missing limbs,
The
and it's
flesh
like
wound.
everything.
It's
Everybody's
fine.
going, that whole like everybody's going.
Your
You
arm's off.
okay? Like
Uh-huh.
you got some things going on, Aroogs. And I'm like, no, I'm fine. It's a scratch. It's fine. It's not that big a deal. You're missing an arm.
Arm.
Eh.
Are
You're
you sure?
bleeding
You're
out.
squirting. You're bleeding on
You're
everybody. Are you
bleeding out. Are
sure?
you okay? Yes, I'm fine. It's like I feel like that was
Mhm.
mine. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Um McMad, he's saying doesn't remember time from high school because they repressed it. I know what that's like. I'm
We both do.
for mine. I think it was earlier than that, but there we'll talk, and all of a sudden, I'll suddenly there a memory will hit me that I've not had, and like oh my god, I did that did happen. Oh that's what. Ooh, and it's over. It can be overwhelming for me when that memory hits because there's a reason I repressed it. And so, yeah, I'm pretty sure I've repressed some of that time from my younger years.
Disassociation and repression. It's a
Mhm.
trauma. That's a trauma response. It's a survival response. I like sometimes I hate trauma
Yeah.
response saying the word trauma response because it's been used so often, but it's a survival
Mhm.
technique. I think that's what I like to say. It's a survival technique
It
because
absolutely is. Yeah.
yes, it's a trauma response. It's a response to trauma, but it's what do you do to survive? So I feel like putting it in the terms when we're talking about words matter and like, it's a survival technique. It is what your brain did
Mhm.
to survive. And repressing those memories. And I'm pretty sure that there is a entire chunk of high school and my 20s that I
Mhm.
literally I would say like between the ages of 15 and 25 there are 10 years that is like very blank.
Yeah.
And I mean that's what our brain does.
Yep.
And it have to be, I think the hardest part for me, and I know you, Sean, but I won't
Mhm.
speak for you, but the hardest part for me is not being judgmental of that.
That is very difficult. Yes, you're correct.
Not being judgmental of going, why can't I remember? Or why do I do this? I don't know why. And then
Mhm.
when you start uncovering, and then you're like, just not being judgmental of the fact that you don't remember. That's okay. That's
Yeah.
okay. Your brain, I think, and it's turning it around and saying and being appreciative of that. I think it's hard to not be judgmental of your of survival, like your what your brain, your survival mechanisms. Um,
Hmm.
but then turning around and thanking yourself and going, "Thanks for protecting me." Even
Hmm.
though it's detrimental now, and you have to acknowledge this doesn't serve me anymore, which is what
Hmm.
I have to work on every day. This technique, this thought process, this coping mechanism, whether it be my EDs or my, self-harm or whatever. It's like, okay, I understand. Like but this doesn't serve me anymore.
Hmm.
I understand you were just trying to survive. And that's hard to
Yeah.
do. That's hard to do. Um, oh, yeah. It's easy to feel that way, Asta, and I get that
It
feeling
is.
a lot. Um, but you're
You.
not dumb.
Yeah.
You're not. Your brain just doing what it needs to do. And
Yes.
sometimes it
But
sucks.
there's.
Sometimes it's weird.
It does. Yeah. When you're in a period of time where you have no agency, that's usually what happens when you're a kid. You don't have any agency of yourself. Everything about your life is controlled. And that doesn't just have to be childhood. That can carry through your teen. At any point in your life when you don't have agency, your brain will your brain's amazing, just absolutely amazing. It will do what it needs to do to survive, and that's what it did. It whether it's suppressing memories, whatever choices you made, the things you do, you survive it. It's what you have to do to survive. Being an adult is going, okay, that's what I did to survive. That's what I had to do because I had no agency. Now I do. So I'm gonna choose not to, like you said, it doesn't serve me anymore. I'm gonna choose not to do the same thing because I do have agency now, and I'm gonna learn. Good. No, I was finished.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Here's
Yeah.
what they don't tell you though.
Uh huh.
Okay, here's what I have went through and I'm still going through
Uh
is
huh.
because I didn't have agency, whether it be in my childhood, my teens, even in my 20s, because the things that I did, the choices that I made, the people that I surrounded myself with or chose to be in my life or et cetera and so forth, they were because I was told I had to have this or I should do this or this is the type of people I needed around or this is the type of person, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
I needed to be in a relationship with or this is the person that you need to be. This is the person and here's the list of all the things. So when you start your own healing and you talk about agency and you talk about making choices for yourself and you talk about
Mm-hmm.
healing and start peeling back the layers, they don't tell you how fucking lost you feel and how fucking hard that is because now it's like they ask you, well, what do you want? Who do you want to be? I
One of the
don't fucking
hardest.
know. I don't fucking know because for the past 30 something, 40 years of my life, I've been told what to do, told who to
Mm-hmm.
be, told who to love and told what it should look like. So I don't fucking know. And then you're like dumping me in this thing of like, I know I don't want that, or maybe I do want that. Maybe there's some aspects about that I do want, but they never tell you. And so you feel fucking lost and you're like sitting here going, well, what do you want? I don't fucking know. I don't know. Agency, I have a choice. I have a choice. But then they tell you it's like, okay, you have this choice. And so, but what if I choose wrong? What if I make the wrong choice? What? Hey, yeah, Sean. Yeah. What if I make the wrong choice? What if I go wrong? What if I make a choice that I think is right, but ends up and Sean. Okay. What if I make the wrong choice and I end up fucking up? What if I fuck up? What if I fuck up? Because during our childhood, we did what we were told, and if we didn't do what we were told, then that choice was a bad choice because we made the wrong choice. But you're now telling me any choice that I make is not a wrong choice? It's just a choice that I made that what the fuck do you mean? And so it's like we talk about, oh, we don't have agency and we can choose who we want to be and we can do all this stuff, but they don't. It's like saying be yourself. When you don't know who you are, being yourself. Who is that? Because you don't know who the fuck you are. I still don't know who the fuck I am, and I've been at this for like this real healing for only like 3 years now, and I still don't know who the fuck I am. Am I a little closer than I was before that? Yeah, but I still don't know who the fuck I am. And now and it always changes. Like I said, oh, now all of a sudden I understand that my core belief is I don't feel good enough and I'm unworthy. Well, fucking shit. What does it look like when I stop? When I actually remove that core belief and replace it with a belief that I am worthy and good enough and that I deserve all these things. What does that look like? Considering that this unworthiness that I have been feeling all my life, that has been the basis for everything that I say, do, think, and people in my life and choices that I make, that is literally the foundation of everything that I am. What happens when I replace it with something else? Then I don't have any clue what I look like. And you're just like,
That right there, all of that. Yes. Oh my God, yes. Oh, because I've been dealing with that. Like and my therapy is like, okay, so when I start separating myself and oh, yeah, I think we all felt that. I know I felt that.
oh, there are more where that comes from. If you sub to the right, there are more where that comes from.
Anna is known for her rants. They're legendary.
I have shit to say.
She does. She does, absolutely.
They're not always right, but they're certainly impassioned.
But they are very passionate. Yes, absolutely. Platinum star. Yeah, there you go. Kevin who gives out stars for rants too. Yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah. So for me, it's my unworthy. Because I felt unworthy, I haven't felt good enough. I will adopt. I will adopt things of other people. I will kind of adjust, morph myself into other people. So when I start separating that out and going, what do I like versus what have I adopted versus what I like? That's hard. It's like you start questioning do I like this because I like it, or do I like this because of who I was hanging out with? Every single thing you question, and then and not only question as like you have to dive into it then and go, do I really like this? Why do I really like this? Is this something it's everything. It feels like you feel lost. I feel lost. Like, and I have to explore. It's exhausting. But like, because I want to be who I am. I want to like what I am. And I'm also a people pleaser. So it's like, it's not just this at this moment. Do I like it? It's as I go through life, not recreating or not falling into the same behaviors. I'm allowed to like what I like and celebrate the things that I like, regardless of what anybody else thinks. But I got to figure out what that is first.
Which means try new things, and trying new things may mean failing, and then but you're afraid of failure
is not an option,
because failure is not a fucking option, and so it's like and you're having to train yourself to go, it's a learning experience. Fuck that, it's a failure. What do you want to fucking like? What are you telling me? It's a learning experience. My shit. That's fucking bullshit.
I'm the golden child. Failure is not failure is not something I accept. That is something that is so because
Sean,
if there's a chance that I'm going to fail,
Sean doesn't proofread.
I am getting better. I'm getting sometimes.
Sean doesn't proofread. Like let me explain. I'm gonna tell on Sean for a little bit.
Go ahead.
Because like Sean and I, when we first started this whole streaming journey back in the pandemic, and moving on through this, and I was doing videos, like we started like writing stuff out and doing stuff, but he would write stuff, and I'm like, did you read this? Like, did you proofread this? And he's like, no, I don't proofread. I'm like, why? Because he doesn't want to go back. He doesn't want to go back and see that he's made mistakes. He's just like, it should be good the first time, right? And that's how he's everything should be good the first time. I'm like,
I always felt like going back and reading something and finding the mistakes, that was it. I didn't want to go back over because I didn't want to find the mistakes. Because if I found mistakes that I made, the mistakes were there. It didn't matter whether I went back over them or not. If a mistake exists, the mistake existed. I just wanted to be, Yeah, I do that now sometimes. Maybe a little too much. Yeah. I'm a full sentence texter. Leave me alone.
Nope, nope. He's a text erase, text erase, text erase.
I'm
That's
also
what.
that. Some of my erasing is that it's because my autocorrect keeps breaking and I have to fixing it.
That's it. That's it.
Some of it. Most of it is I'm erasing what I've said. No, hey, Nev.
Hi, Nev. No, I have literally gotten to where there's like especially when we're in a deep text conversation, where I've started counting. I made a game of like how many times I've seen the
Some
bubbles and then stop. And then I've seen the bubbles and then stop. It's just like I started counting them.
some Sometimes it's so bad that I'm in the middle of this long text and then she will call me. She'll be like, "I'm sorry, I can't sit here and wait for this. I'm
There was
just
one
gonna
time I
call you."
sat
And
for
she'll
10 minutes, folks, while I watched the thing. And I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to. But anyway, we're getting off track
Yes.
about.
Oh my god, McMahon, no, you would be drunk way too fast.
Yeah, that would be a 15-minute conversation, McMahon, and I'd be like drunk for the rest of the day. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but
Okay.
back to it. That's what they don't tell you is that
Mm-mm.
once you start healing, yes, you need to start retraining yourself into that. But then you have to understand, like, what do you want? And that was asked a lot of me in the very beginning. What do you want your future self to look like? And I kept just going,
Oh god.
healed. I want to be better. Like, that's all I could see because I don't know. I don't know. I just want to be
Mm-hmm.
better. I don't know what that looks like. And over time things change and they do. And I've gotten not great, but a little bit more comfortable with trying something new. And then, okay, well, I tried it and it's all right, but and not just taking, oh, well, it's not bad, so I'll just keep it on as an identity. But trying to find out who you are doesn't like I don't know who I am. I could be I don't know. I don't know.
Who I am, what I want, the
What does my
idea
future self look
of
like? I don't know. Not this.
yeah. One of the hardest questions that I'm ever asked is what do I want and what are my goals? I don't know. I blank. Oh my god, just asking me an open-ended question like that, complete blank.
I know. I
During
ask
last
him.
week's episode, you do all that. During last week's episode, you're like, "So what do you want to work on?" And there were like 5, 6 possible answers. None of them wrong. All of them very acceptable answers. Any one of them would have been great to answer with. It took me like 10 minutes to pick one. So
It's Trauma
oh my
Junction.
god.
Doot, doot. It's a subsidiary of Hot Mess Express. It's fine.
Oh my god.
I mean yeah, that's the thing. It's like I don't.
Mm-hmm. Uh,
I think that's the other thing where I had to fight against too
mm-hmm.
is jumping from being told who I was, change my life goals. And that's a hard one, Bad.
Ooh, that
That's
is.
so hard. That is incredibly difficult and because I know
Mm-hmm.
I've gone through that as well. um
Mm-hmm.
People when you start growing and changing and healing and making different choices for yourself. Like it's hard for some people to see you as anything other than what they learned and expect you to be.
Mm-hmm.
Even the ones that really, really, really care about you. And it's having to stand up for that and go, no, I will not be treated. No, this is me who I am right now. That, and that's hard. And I'm only hurting me at this point. I can actually absolutely talk about that, McMad. I was going to Y'all call it uni. Y'all call it uni, so I'll call it uni, but we call it just,
Hmm.
college here. But, yeah, I was going and I went 5 years, like, the whole I was getting a music degree. And, about my junior year, my 3rd year, I started questioning, "Is this what I really wanna do?" Like, I don't this things again, I was growing, I was changing, but I had wanted to be a music teacher since I was 15. And now I was sitting at 20, at 20 years old, 5 years later, and I'm going, I can't. And because I was told, you do it, you made a choice, stick with it. You don't change. You're already too deep in. And so I got to the end and I was just like, I don't want to do this. I literally got to the end. Student teaching, I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do it. And I decided I wasn't going to finish. Very end, just decided I don't want to do it. My parents didn't, my mom and my dad did not speak to me for a year. And I didn't have I didn't have a job. Yeah. Like I didn't have a job. I didn't have any prospects, but I just knew that wasn't, and that was the first choice that I made for me. And it was such a bad, like it scarred me so bad because I made that choice for me. And then all of a sudden, even my parents weren't talking to me. And I felt that shame and that guilt and that hardness, but I don't regret it. There were times where I just went back and thought, what if, but I don't because I made that choice and I knew that it wasn't right for me. And that's okay. And that's hard. It's hard and it sucks. And especially when you know it's the
Hmm.
right thing and everybody's telling you it's not. And I told my parents, I was like, you can be mad at me all you want and you can be angry that I'm not living up to my full potential or whatever.
Hmm.
Who are you to say what my full potential is? And they
Yeah.
didn't speak to me for a year. You know what? Well, one of my parents got over it.
Yeah. One of them. Yeah. When there's and the more sunk costs there are, the harder it is to make that decision, and more that other people will fight against it for you to make that decision. McBad, yeah, leads own life, but not like that. That's exactly right. People have their own perspective, and they're used to seeing you a certain way, just like you're used to seeing yourself a certain way. Just like I'm used to seeing myself a certain way. Other people see me the same way. So when I change, when I start to grow, that can come into conflict with how other people see me. Um, and it can be hard as a people pleaser. It can be hard not to fall back in that. I have a lot of one of the problems I've had as a people pleaser is accepting what other people think of me, even though I know that's not how I am, what I feel, what I think about myself. I accept it because they said it. Must be true.
Also,
Um,
it's hard for your parents as a parent
oh
because I
yeah,
think that
yeah,
that's
that's
the
not bad.
thing I ran into with mine, and I think that you're running in. I'm going to guess that you're running into it with yours. Is they have
Yep.
this expectation, and especially if you're older, like like
Hmm.
not my generation of parenting, but like you have your kids' life planned out, and the pressure on the parents to make sure that their kids' lives are planned out because and
That's a
making
good point. They have. Mhm.
they have this pressure of their kid needs to be X, Y, and Z and do this by X, Y, and Z. And so it's their job as a parent to make sure that they are making the right choices. But as somebody who's trying to do something different with my kids, I have repeatedly told my kids, it doesn't matter what you do. I just want you to do what makes you happy, and I will support that. Now, will I let you make your mistakes? Yeah, but it doesn't matter what you do as a profession. It doesn't matter if you want. We've even told the girls, you don't have to go to college. If what you want to do doesn't involve college, okay. But it's up to them to make those choices. But that whole push for you need to be a grown up, but don't do it that way because that's not the way. That's on your parents' trauma and not on yours.
Mhm.
And that's where it's hard, and that's where I had to go no contact with my mom. I mean, I'm not saying to go no contact with your parents, not that. That was a choice that I made for my own mental health for all sorts of different reasons. But that's their trauma. They have to be the ones to let go of that idea of who they thought you should be. And it's hard, especially when you're that child and you love your parents and you care about them and you respect them and you want them to be happy, to go, but that's not me and I'm not going to do that. And either you can love me and respect me for the choices that I made, and you're allowed, and acknowledging you're allowed to be angry and upset about that, but this is still my life and I am taking ownership of that. You need to let go of that idea. That's for you to
That's a
let go
lot.
of, not for me.
Yes.
I think for me, it was so hard to let go of the responsibility of my parents' feelings and, needs from me. There has to be a time where they have to let go of that. And I, as their child, am no longer responsible for how you react to the choices that I make.
Mhm.
You don't like it, and that's tough shit. That doesn't mean I'm a bad person. That doesn't mean it. That means you are disappointed and you have these feelings and you have those things and you need to deal with it. And they don't like that because they still see you as their child. And I'm
Yes.
sorry. I am your child. I am your son, daughter, whatever. I am your child,
Mhm.
but I'm an adult. I am my own
Mhm.
person. And
Mhm.
you no longer have that power over me anymore.
Yeah.
And that sucks. It's hard. It's hard. And I am totally on board with that. Like, I'm so hard.
Yeah, and I've had to do that with my parents recently. Is as I deconstructed and as I figured out who I am, and I continue to figure out who I am. I feel like my parents had a lot of like had a lot of well, a lot of expectations around me, definitely. But I think that their self worth was heavily based upon heavily based upon their those expectations. If I didn't meet their expectations, then they failed as a parent. And I think that was especially true because I was the one child that still that continued to try to meet their expectations for so long. My older brother and my younger brother, they gave that up long ago. I didn't. I held on to it, and I was so desperate not to disappoint my parents. That was a really hard thing for me to do, was to start breaking those expectations and to say that's not who I am anymore. And then to get, of course, their reaction to it. And I'm like, this is and trying to set boundaries for someone who grew up boundaries were not a thing. That's been tough. That's been a difficult journey, setting boundaries, learning to set boundaries with my parents.
You're doing really well,
And
though. I'm proud of you.
thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Sean's mom. But she's getting better though.
She
She
is
is getting better
she
though.
actually
And I am proud of you for sticking around because she is getting better about that.
she is. Yeah, I they're one of the boundaries that I set with her is because I had deconstructed and I no longer subscribe to my Christian upbringing. Is she would constantly do the bringing it up. Well, are you in church or have you done this or she kept trying to plant the seed. Ever heard that in our community? Yeah, it's an awful phrase. Plant the seed, right? Um, and I finally had to tell her to stop. And honestly, I didn't think she'd be able to do it. I really didn't think so. And she's actually surprised me. The since I set that boundary, she hasn't said anything. There's multiple. I don't communicate a lot with my parents, but like when I visited them or talked to them, she hasn't said anything. It surprised me. So, but I know it was weird.
No,
But I
there's a
did tell her.
fly that flew
Oh,
in. That's what I was like.
but it is. But I had to set the boundary, and it even went so far as to say, if you continue to do it, here's the consequences of it. So that wasn't easy. Uh, planting seeds in my garden. I don't want your I don't want your weeds. Yeah, pretty much.
And Tana J say it's
So
for the bragging rights. My kid is an astronaut dentist with a doctorate in quantum physics. Equals I'm not responsible for
yes,
the trauma. Look how good they are doing. All right.
yeah. In our parents have their own social circles, and there is weight on them. There is expectations placed on them that if I look good to my social group if my kids do so and so, instead of saying my son, daughter, whatever is their responsibility, it's their thing, doesn't reflect upon me. I think it's very, I don't know, I'm not a parent, but I can see that it's very difficult to separate that.
Well, yeah, no, yes and no, depending on how you parent. My parents, my
Mhm,
mom, was very much like that.
mhm,
How well, which is why when I decided not to do that, and I spent a lot of time just sort of trying to figure out what I wanted in life and what I wanted to do, and I spent lots of time, and I'm getting to that
mhm,
point now where I know who I am, I know what I want, I know what I'm good at. I'm really good at what I've chosen to do. I ended up here because I just did a bunch of different shit. Um,
mhm.
but that's them and your parents taking ownership of your choices and your
Ooh,
accomplishments. That's
yep.
them saying, "Look at what my kid did. That's me." And that's a very narcissistic way of parenting. They are
Mhm.
successful and they're only, and my mom used to say it all the time too. You got your good looks from me. You got your talent from me. Everything that you did is because of me. And that is taking, again, which is why, and then my core belief, when I do something great, I don't think I'm that great because that's not because I wasn't, somebody else was taking credit for my talents and my accomplishments. And so it was
Mhm,
important, it's important to those type of parents that haven't dealt with their traumas and their insecurities and their issues. It's very easy for them to go, I'm a great parent. They are this great because of me. And I don't subscribe to that. My daughters are incredibly intelligent. They are incredibly intelligent, and they've accomplished so much. Like Nora, she just won a podcasting award out of her school. Like she submitted, her and her friend did like a small like audio podcast for a contest, and she won. Like, and I can go,
wow.
she did that because she's watched me podcasting and all this stuff. But my kid, it's like I don't think that at all. That's not what meant like that doesn't what
Mhm,
enter my brain. Did she see me doing it and know how? Yes. Did she learn probably how easy it was? Did I help teach her what it's like to podcast? Yes. But she did that on her own. How eloquent she is. She put the work in. She did that. She that's her. She accomplished that on her own. That's her award. That's
mhm.
her, and like
Yep.
it's it's not me. I didn't do anything. And to be quite honest, I didn't like I know she probably told me, but I didn't even remember that she had submitted for that. Like I had no like she does so they do so much shit I don't even know anymore. But like that's on them. That's her
Yeah.
accomplishment, not me. I have my own
Mhm,
accomplishments. But I'm very proud of her. And that's the difference. Like I brag on her and like, look at how, and I say these things. I don't say like, she's so talented. Like she's so friendly and she's a great human. She is a great human. And she's
mhm,
making these choices and she's doing this because that is her. That's her autonomy, not me. It has nothing to do with me. It doesn't. It's my job as her parent to take whatever talent she has, and if she wants to do something, to support that. And when she messes up or she feels like she's struggling and she needs that, to encourage her. It is not my responsibility or my job to take credit for that because it has nothing to do with me. And I
mhm,
used to do that when I was teaching marching band. And I was like, you make the choice. You make the choice. You can make the choice to be good or you can make the choice to be lazy. I have my trophies. I have my awards. I have my medals. I
mhm.
have my first places. So I don't need to prove anything to anyone. You do. and that is on you, and that is a choice that you make. You can either listen to what I have to say and because of my expertise, or you can choose not to, and we can work with the consequences of that together. But it's not my choice, it's your choice. My kids are the same way. And that's how I parent. You have potential, you have talent, but if you don't want to, I can't force you. My Nora made a smart ass comment like in passing, and she's like, "Mommy, what if I wanted to be a stripper? Would you support me if I wanted to be a stripper?" Yes. What? You would let me be a stripper? Yes. Why? Because that's a choice you wanted to make. I wouldn't change how I love you. That was a choice. You want to be a stripper? I will support you be a stripper. I will take you and go get you some high heels. Like, will I tell you to be careful? Will I voice my concerns? Will I want to know why? Yes, but that doesn't mean that I will shame you for that. You want to be a stripper? Be a stripper. There's some really great strippers out there that can do like some. I mean, there's some not so great strippers, but there's some great strippers out there that make a lot of money. I'm like, you know what? You're making more than me. And I keep my clothes on. I mean, it's not about what you do. It's your choice. And I'm not going to be ashamed of that.
Yeah.
Will I be a proud parent of a great stripper? Sure. What's your daughter doing now? Stripping at the Kitty Cat Club. Like, I don't care. I don't care because it doesn't matter. Are you happy? Yes.
Because it doesn't change your self-worth.
No.
As a parent.
Absolutely not. I love my kids. And and do I hurt when they make mistakes? Yeah. But I think our parents,
I think it was very different from our parents.
It's very different.
I think the time that they were parenting us when we were born was very different as well. I think there was a lot more pressure during that time, during the boomer, the boomer generation having kids, the Gen X. I think there was a lot of weight put on parents to for their kids to do the right things, to have the right careers, to act a certain way. But like you said, that's not our responsibility to deal with the pressures that they had and have. That is theirs to deal with.
The problem is they make it ours. They expect it to be ours because, again, just like when we were kids, that's why it's very much, how often would we get corporal punished? We get the belt or the whatever implement or even just emotional like abuse in that. I'm going to manipulate you until you do exactly what I say because you are how I heard this all the time, because you are a reflection of me.
Can't get more blatant than that, can you?
I literally got beaten in because you are a reflection of me, and nobody in this house should know or nobody outside this house should know what's going on.
Oh yeah.
I'm not a reflection of you. I'm my own human. You are a reflection of you, and you are actually making it abundantly fucking clear what is being reflected.
What's important. Yeah. Whew. Yeah.
My kids are not a reflection of me. They are a reflection of themselves. And they are amazing humans. Amazing humans. I look at them every day and I don't think, man, I'm a great parent, or man, I'm a shitty parent. I look at them and I go, they are such great humans. And I am so grateful that they are in my life. Are they frustrating? Yes. Do I get angry at them? Yes. Do I But I don't look at them and see, I am being a great thing. And they're great because of me. I don't ever, that never crosses my mind. I look at them and go, can I have you as my mom? Sure. Yes.
I mean, yeah. I like to, yeah. You do have fantastic kids, and I'm going to tell you that you are a good parent. I'm gonna remind you of that because you are a fantastic parent. And listening to the way that you talk about your approach to parenting is so incredibly refreshing to hear that. And like, oh my God, Mad, you're not the first person to have said that. Can you parent me?
Well, I think I've also had to do it because I've had to reparent myself. And that's the
McMad wants some back payment for his allowance.
Well, you can join the app just like my kids. They have an app where there's a list of chores and there's a percentage that if
Mhm.
a percentage of the chores they finish, that's the amount that they get. So we don't
Mhm.
back pay. We also make them
Uh,
responsible. I have no problem giving you an allowance, but you're also just like a job. You have to work the
yeah.
jobs to earn the money. Like,
Mhm. Ah,
no, I my kids are great. They're great. I think they're just amazing humans. Chloe
mhm.
sometimes.
They are.
Oof, my little black cat
They're
serial
still.
killer.
Um, you got to be careful suddenly showing up at a place. That's not a good way to. No, that's not a good start to that. No, call it if you're lucky. The cops will be called. Just putting that out there.
It's fine. I defend you. I hope I
Hmm.
choose. I know. Well, I know how to defend
Ah,
myself. My stepdad was an army ranger, former, or like in my
oh,
like
I, I remember.
I told my kids, okay, we're running a little over, but we'll end on a happy note. We'll end on, I know this
Okay.
episode's sort of been all over the place, but I thank you for, I'm glad you're here, McMad. Please come back. Asta,
Yes.
I'm glad you're back. Asta's been here for a while. I'm like, I'm good. Like, welcome.
Yeah.
She's,
Absolutely.
uh, um, so Nora has a new boyfriend. Like her old one. You remember the second one, the first one that I like. I'm
Hmm.
just like, I mean,
Yeah. Hmm.
no, this second
I
one,
mean,
like
that's her choice, but
exactly. This new one, he actually went to escape room with us for her
Mhm.
birthday on Friday, and he introduced himself to Chris. He's like, shook his hand, said hello. Hello, sir. I'm Oliver, and like was very, and he's very sarcastic, Matt, very good. It's like Nora really likes him so much better, and she's so much happier, and you can tell. And he's
Good.
very sarcastic. So I was like, you're gonna fit in just fine here, kid. But before he got there, like Chris was doing the dad thing. He's like, "Oh, if Oliver gets here before Nora does, because they Nora was at Spanish club. Like, if Oliver gets here, we get like 10 minutes with him by ourselves. I get to just interrogate him." I was like, "We're not doing that." And Chloe was sitting there going, "Why not?" I was like, I want you to ask. I explained the whole process of how my stepdad used to take all of my boyfriends for the walk around our property and show them all of his sharp tools. And I said, Chloe, you need to message Mr. Sean, ask him about the walk.
I never got the walk, but I got the talk, and the talk was sufficient. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
So.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is funny because I'm like, my stepdad taught us how to defend ourselves. Like,
Hmm. Yeah. Hmm.
knock first. Yeah. Yeah. Knock first. I have a ring
Yep.
doorbell. Also,
Yep.
I have a video. It's
Yeah.
Sean, did that scar you? Did that traumatize you?
Um. No. No, I don't think so. Um. No, I don't think it did. It was. It was at the time. It was like okay. I mean, it put the fear of him in me. But I wouldn't say that it traumatized me. Well, I'm also not. I also don't subscribe to as an. I don't subscribe to the whole the the dad owns the daughter. That whole idea of you have to ask permission, all that like to marry them. Like I don't necessarily subscribe to that. It was kind of a eye opening. That's I never had that kind of talk
Why do you
with
think I'm in
a stepdad.
therapy now?
Yeah, yeah. But what's funny is the difference between your stepdad and your dad. The way that each of them greet very different. One is like we've known each other our entire lives, and one is like she is her own person, And here's what happens if you don't respect it.
Because my dad is scared of me. Like my dad's like, you know what? I'm not worried about her. He's like, and if you can handle her for at least 6 months, you good. Like,
Oh my God.
no, they are very, very different. And I don't know. Well, and also Chris has a very different approach because there was 3 boys and a girl. The oldest was a girl, but like he grew up in a mostly boy household, so he doesn't understand. Like I grew up with, me and my sister and my 2 stepsisters. It was female dominated, so it was very much, yeah. So now that I have 2 girls, it's a girl household. I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this a little different. So,
There you go. There you go.
if my future and father-in-law will do that to me, I'd set some very strict boundaries. Yeah.
Jay, I can totally see that, Jay. Yeah, I could. Sir, you're doing that wrong. Sir, let me show you how to do that properly.
Okay. I think my meds are starting to wear off, so I gotta go.
Right. Okay.
I mean, as much as I'm having a good time, my stomach is going, no, you're not. It's fine.
Yeah. We're gonna do something about that. So that's cool.
Yeah. But welcome, McMahon, and welcome here.
Yes.
As he said earlier, I saw that and I thought it was cute, but Sean was talking, so I didn't want to. I was like, fellow metric system user. I felt like that was great. Like that was awesome. Him and Asta, like, welcome.
Yeah, glad you're here.
Yes. So, okay. So, I don't know. Hey, what?
Oh, I was gonna ask. Do you want me to throw stuff in the chat?
Yes, throw stuff in the chat. Why don't you talk about it?
All right, you mean tell me about the week?
Yeah, tell me about the week. I'll be right back there.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna throw some stuff in the chat. First of all, we got a Discord. So that is a Team AOA Discord. Team AOA is a group of us. It's that stream, that game that do a podcast. So that is our Discord if you want to join. We also will post things in there. It's not heavily active, but if you want to keep track of some stuff of our schedules and whatnot, there's a Discord. The other thing that we got is there are the channels for our Team AOA people that stream. So this week we got some scheduled stuff this week. We've got, today is Sunday. So tomorrow, we don't have anything tomorrow, but on Tuesday's our big day. Tuesday is our 3 Bards and a Dragon. It is our RPG podcast where we roll a die and let it run and ruin our lives. It is, if you haven't seen it before, check out some of the highlight videos. They are fantastic. It is crazy what we let a D20 do to us. So check that out. That's on Tuesdays at 7:30.
Non-permission mode. Jay needs to fix that. Trying to add the Discord.
Whenever you first join, you don't have permission. We have to add you to fix that. So, So that's Tuesday at 7:30 Eastern, our RPG podcast, and on Wednesday is Lego building. It's on my channel. The Team AO, the 3 Bards and a Dragon is on the Team AOA channel. On Wednesdays, I do Lego building at 7:30 Eastern. So I am working on Santa's delivery truck. I'm doing all Christmas stuff, all holiday themed stuff. So that's at 7:30 Eastern. Come hang out with me while I build some Legos. Then on Thursday, we have it's not one of our podcasts, but we have some friends of ours. Some friends of ours have a podcast on YouTube, talk about geeky stuff, nerdy stuff, geeky stuff, everything, pop culture in between. Okay, so Jay's working on it. Cool. So check them out on their YouTube channel. They're great people, really good friends of ours, and so they have a great podcast on there.
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
Occasionally we have community game nights on Fridays, or we just go live gaming. I have that's why it's sort of important to follow me, not subscribe. Like I'm not going to be one of those like subscribe to me, like, but at least follow me because I often, like I said, I sometimes just go live. just because not because of anything or I have anything planned, or sometimes I like sit and work and I body double and just need somebody to talk to, or I will be going through something and just need to just talk it out, or sometimes I go live while we're gaming just
Oh my
without
God.
telling Jay and Sean. Just because just because it's
Our
funny.
shenanigans are something else. So yeah, Anna's channel is Nerd My Mace. Tainted Jay is Jay. He's in the chat. Great Big Bear isn't in our chat. He works some crazy hours. But so Great Big Bear, we're hoping we'll get back into streaming soon. And then Dorian Sombra, that is me. That's an old handle that I use. So,
Sean, they do know my channel is Nerd Mom Mace because they're here.
I know. I just like to say it.
Do you like to say it? Say my name. Say my name, Sean.
I like to say it.
Say my name.
Nerd My Mace.
Okay, and with that, I need to take some more meds and hydrate. So, thanks for joining us, and we will see you guys later. And bye.
Bye, everybody.
Did you really just high five over me? Right
No,
now?
we didn't.
Okay, we're live. Hello.
You don't even do that well from the front seat.
Okay.
And the bear's coming with the cup and spoon.
That's a straight up PBR for the table.
Yeah.
I think it called.
She ain't judging us at all.
Did you really just high five over me? Right
No,
now?
we didn't.
Okay, we're live. Hello.
You don't even do that well from the front seat.
Okay.